Hi, I'm Chris Hegstrom. I'm here to talk about 3D audio in VR. I've seen a bunch of articles the past couple of days about how audio is the second most important thing in VR. And as an audio person, kind of like, well, yeah, I guess second's not bad. But I tend to like to think of HMDs or head-mounted displays as perfect vessels for 3D audio that just happen to have really good displays for visual information. So that being said, if you think about the stereoscopic view on HMDs, both your eyes are doing work to create depth, and that's kind of what gives a lot of the visual awesomeness in VR. And your ears are pretty much doing the same thing. Your ears are working in tandem together to localize objects in the virtual world in the same way to kind of find depth in your experience. And that's why VR is kind of perfect for a lot of this stuff. Naturally, you're going to move around. You're going to move your head around with little micro movements to actually kind of almost triangulate certain things that you're hearing, just so that you can get a sense of exactly where they are. Now, you're using both your left and right ears and kind of just mathematically or just inherently figuring out the difference between the distance between your two ears to localize that stuff. And what I thought was really fascinating is when I heard this, your brain actually receives sound information and processes it faster than it does visual information. Now that goes back to a lot of kind of survival instinct when we were running from predators or running towards food. Your ears are basically your protection method and your method for the best method for figuring out where something is, which is why I kind of feel like not using 3D audio in VR is neglecting a really powerful tool that you have inherent with your experience. Is it expensive? Well, it's not cheap. You're essentially calculating things per frame, and you're essentially raycasting and calculating that every frame. And at 90 frames a second or higher, it can get a little bit. It's not cheap. Let me put it that. But think of the alternatives. So your alternative would be stereo. So stereo would be left and right. And where that falls apart is essentially when you move your head, which you're going to be doing a lot of in VR. So if you think of ambient emitters that are around you, and there's a bird over here, and then maybe a waterfall over here. If you move your head, you don't want those things to move with you. You want them to maintain themselves in the space. So those of you that have worked with game engines might say, what about 3D audio emitters? Just having a mono file attached to an emitter and then basically using left and right data to figure out that information. That's fine, but that's on one plane. That's only using left and right data. You're simulating depth on the Z-plane through volume, but you have absolutely no vertical at all. So 3D audio actually uses all of that, and when you think about what you're doing and how you're moving within VR, if you want to triangulate and figure out where something is very naturally, the way you would do in a normal life, you definitely want to have all three of those axes. So for the first time, going back to what I originally said, we've got this great mechanism that has the relative information of the distance between your ears, which headphones have, but now you've got the ability to head track, and you can also pretty much get a lot more information from that, just from gyroscope, just from head tracking, just from being able to understand your distance, your head-related transfer function, which is essentially like the audio version of the interpupil distance. you can figure out a lot of stuff that enables you to author for 3D audio. And there's a lot of options out there. There is Two Big Ears, which just recently got acquired by Oculus. It's a good 3D audio engine. Visisonics does a really good one, Real Space 3D, that I've used. And Impulsonics is another one as well. And they all plug into Unreal and Unity as well. So what's the future of this? And what's the future of this? Well, I imagine the ability to author 3D audio in VR as a pretty cool thing. If I'm able to just place an emitter over here, and then that's where it goes, and that's where you're actually hearing things from. Imagine what that's going to do for the potential of maybe 3D music, the potential of either sitting in the middle of an orchestra and hearing all the instruments around you, or having instruments move around your head in all 3D space. You know, there's some pretty cool aspects to it, and I do truly believe that 3D audio is as big a deal for VR as VR is for 3D audio. I run a VR audio meetup, if you might not have guessed, and I'll give you guys information on that if you're interested in it. But thanks for your time, and see you later.